Hello everybody, it's me back after 2 years of shaving on my own. Now you remember my first video where I just shaved for the very first time and I spouted off all kinds of kind of cringy advice that I had no understanding of whatsoever. Well, I'm back to update some of that, and we'll do it a little bit shorter this time too. First, I want to talk about some of the changes and the first things that I learned over the last couple of years. As you may remember, I started off with a brush, which I still use. It's this one right here. It is a Vanderhagen boar hair brush, and I started with Williams Mug Soap, which I've heard from several of you, and I found out myself, is one of the worst soaps you could possibly try to lather, especially given the water that I had. I switched after that to Vanderhagen, which I used up, and learned that wasn't much better. Since then, the biggest change, I've switched to this Purasso Green. Made a huge difference. It's so much easier to lather. I think it smells a little bit better. And it's $10, and I've been using it now for, I don't know, a year and a half, and I've still got quite a bit of it left in there. Plus, I can probably use this case for something a little bit later. Also, I had been using this as an aftershave. Now, in the first video, I stupidly went against the grain for my very first time. That turned out to be a bad decision. I stopped doing that, instead going with the grain and then kind of across the grain, and I've since modified that a little bit too. But I kept using this, and I would always get razor burn down on my neck, a lot of bumps and things, and it really didn't seem to help. Honestly, I thought, nah, what's the difference? I went ahead and I bought this, Nivea for Men Post-Shave Balm. No drying alcohol in it, it says. I didn't know if that made a difference or not. Supposedly it also has witch hazel, but I'm not positive on that. And it actually made a difference. I was really surprised. I could put that on, I could feel it moisturizing a little bit more, and the bumps nearly always go away. Sometimes if I've been a little bit aggressive or something, they come back, but for the most part, honestly, this does make a difference. Spend the extra money, it'll last you longer than this, because you'll be using, twice, three times as much as this than you will of this. So those are most of the changes, still using the exact same Aqua Velva. I've changed up the strategy just a little bit. I also tried doing it in a mug. That didn't work near as well, so I've switched to a bowl. I'll get to that in a second. Also, I was using this little Super Speed from the early 50s. It was my grandfather's and my father's. I still like it, but a short time later at a country antique store, I found an adjustable. So you can see the ring around there adjusting it. And what that does, and I don't know how well this is going to show, but the blade angle on these two are a little bit different. It's not going to work super well. But either way, so the blade on this one is a lot steeper an angle. I would say maybe about like that. This one, you can adjust it. So if I unscrew it a little bit, not all the way, but if I unscrew it, you'll see where the razor blade kind of sits. If I twist this, you will see it actually change how high or low it is. And maybe it's not going to make a lot of sense here, but I used traditionally a 6, so you can see 5, 6, 7, sometimes a little bit more. And what that does is that actually shallows out the angle and makes it more aggressive. So a little bit more aggressive than the Super Speed, I'm fine with that. If it's really, really thick growth, kind of like today, I might actually also use a single edge from the 1930s. This is a gem, and you have to get special blades for it, single edge blades, not hardware store single edge blades. They're different. And that one really does feel like you're just scraping a blade across your face. So you have to have just the right angle. It's got to be a really steep angle of the head, not like this, really steep. Either way. I also found this. I've tried it. The red tip means that it was a little bit more aggressive. There was a silver tip that was kind of in the middle, and a blue tip, which was a much steeper angle, so less aggressive. But your mileage may vary. Either way, I'm going with this. It's from the early 60s. It is a Gillette adjustable. Got it for like $4. Awesome. Since my face is drying out, in the prep phase, one thing I also did was, as I'm ready to jump in the shower, I fill up this little bowl, it's not ice cream, with water, and then I microwave it to get it nice and hot because my water takes a while, and then I put the brush in it. And also, I take the brush and I drop a little bit of moisture into the soap to soften it up. Then by the time I'm done, everything's ready to go, I'm good. What I do next is I will fill the sink and then dump everything into it. But what I'll do is I'll just leave a little bit of water in the bottom of this bowl, just to start. Okay, so I get some water in the sink, and then I will, I guess you can start the timer now, 5 minutes into this. Start the timer now if you want to see and how long this usually takes. So I shake out a little bit of moisture from the brush, but not all of it, and then I start going with the soap. Now I've scaled it back over time. Honestly, about 8 seconds, I do it both ways. 8 seconds this way, and I forgot to time it, but then I go the other direction just to kind of get a little bit more soap on the brush. But honestly, I could probably do less than this, and it's enough. So you can see the brush is kind of coated and matted together a little bit. Remember, I've got just a little bit of moisture in the bottom of this bowl, and then I start by pushing in. Now I go around to start off, but then I kind of change things, because what you'll see after going around a little bit, and I don't know how well this is going to show up, is you'll get some buildup on the edges. So what I do to those, oh boy, is I actually try to push down and then rotate the bowl. So instead of going around, I'm actually kind of going at an angle. So instead of rotating on this plane, I'm rotating on this plane, and that's pushing down. So see, boom, 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 down, 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 down. And I'm pushing whatever's on the edge down into the bowl. Now what you're immediately going to see, something that I did not see even after nearly rotating so much my arm fell off in the first video, is you're going to start to see buildup. So I'm going to actually go around and around a few times just to get that buildup so I can show you. But you'll see it's starting to thicken up. You won't see as many bubbles, and it's getting a much better consistency. But I'm not done yet. So I'm going to keep pushing it downward. And then what I'll do is I'll just add a little bit of water, just a few drops like that, and keep going. And immediately you will see a volume increase. It's going to get thicker, and there's going to be more of it. The peaks that I talked about are going to be much more noticeable. So there you can already start to see some on the brush. Honestly, if I wanted to, I could stop right now if I was in a hurry and use this, but one thing I encourage you to do, especially if you're starting out, is just kind of keep adding water. And then eventually you'll find the point when the lather falls apart. That helped me. I just made lather. I didn't even use it. I just made lather several times, and I kept putting it on my face to feel what it's like. Now, honestly, I only do 1 or 2 passes, so this is probably enough. So there's plenty in the bowl. It may not look like it, but there's a lot in the brush. All right. If you want to smash it down a few more times, you can, just to load the brush up a little bit more. But I like to leave a little bit out there. Again, because I've been talking, my face is dried out a little bit, but normally I don't dry my face. When I hop into the shower, the first thing I actually do, and I'm going to look in the mirror for this, the first thing I actually do is put shampoo on my beard to clean it and also to soften it, because the suds are going to stay there longer than water. Now, if you got a lot of growth, this may not look like it's, covering a lot, but it actually is. So what I do is, and I've never shaved into an iPad before, so excuse me, but practice with the angle, and I just make short, light little strokes going straight down. The longer you stay on the skin, see I kind of puff out to smooth it, the longer you stay on the skin, the more likely it is you're going to push and dig in. And then knowing where your hair goes is also another thing. So on the sides my hair goes straight down, kind of on my chin they go out a little bit. On my neck they come across this way and off to this angle. So that would explain why I was getting the bumps, because I was actually going across and against the grain, sometimes when I didn't think that I was. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to angle it this way. And you're not trying to get everything in one pass. That's why we do multiple passes. You're listening for that kind of scraping toast sound. And again, I'm contorting my face and pulling the skin as tight as possible, because you don't want it to be loose and bunch up and get caught. I want to check the mirror here. See, filled up, clean it out. Again, pulling the skin taut. You're not in a beauty competition doing this. So, simple. Here, the hair goes mostly straight down. But I do tend to get a few nicks, and I feel alright going across down here just because of how taut that skin is. And we'll get back to that a little bit later. Neck, I always go pretty much straight down. Follow where the hair goes, but I stay really light, because remember I got a lot of bumps down there. Going to the mirror, sorry. You're going to be much more efficient with the mirror. Now remember, going crossways, following the hair down here, really makes a difference. So honestly, if you wanted to, check the mirror, see if you've missed any places, and you could call it good. Clean it off, you're done. I normally go one step more, so what, that was 5 minutes. I normally go one step more, so I go back to the bowl and I push it down on the sides to kind of reload the brush to get the lather in between the fibers. Alright? This one goes on a lot smoother. I don't know why that is, if it's only because hair's gone now or what it is, but this one always feels so much smoother. Now for my second pass, I don't normally go just across the grain. I go just a little bit against it, only on the sides. So if you look here, I'm going to kind of go up and across. Remember, stay super light. For the chin, I just kind of go across, because against doesn't really work super well for me down there. I stay across on the upper lip, and then again, same thing over here. Just kind of barely across against the grain, mostly going across. Until I get to the chin, then I just go across. The chin's got a lot of angles, so I might have to go over that a couple times and touch up later. Clean that. Neck, I just go with the grain again. Neck tends to be super sensitive on most people, so don't worry about it. It's going to be close enough. You'll get a 5 o'clock shadow eventually, and it will take it away. But then I go with the hair again. Sometimes I just come on the back of the neck, touch it up just a little bit. I normally do put a little bit of lather on the back of it, but honestly, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to step out of the screen here and just check the mirror close. And there are just a couple of places that I want to touch up that I missed because I shaved into an iPad. Otherwise, that's about it. So then, what I normally do is I take the styptic pencil after I rinse off the face and the neck, and the styptic pencil, wet it first, and even if there aren't visible weepers, if you will, I kind of go over some of the hard edges where it might have been really easy to bite in. You'll still feel a little bit of sting, so that means maybe you did get in just a little bit, but honestly, not bad. Rinse it off. I normally kind of blow it dry a little bit so that it doesn't get all sticky. Then, after I wait a little bit, I actually start cleaning up my stuff during this time. Alternatively, you can put another coat of lather on your skin just to kind of coat it and make it feel all nice and smooth if you want, whatever. And then rinse that off and then do the styptic pencil. But by the time you've cleaned a lot of this stuff, then you're good to go for the Aqua Velva. You don't have to use this at all. I know a lot of people don't. They just go straight to the balm. But for some reason I like the slight burn on it. I like the cooling sensation. Supposedly it firms. I don't know if that's true. But what I do is I normally just put it on my palm and just scrape it across, just briefly. So that'll give you a little bit of residue on there. I do that, and then I just do on the cheeks and around the jawbone, and that's it. I don't go onto the neck because I don't want to dry it out, and I don't want to get those bumps. Then after I go about my business of cleaning everything else up and doing the hair or whatever, then I put a little bit of this on. Normally I put just enough to go from the most distal groove of the middle finger up to the tip. Maybe you can do a little bit more, but then I go everywhere with that, especially on the neck, but then all over the face where I just did it. Then that's about it. You're done. That took maybe 10 minutes. If you wanted to take a little extra time, if you're in a hurry, you can do the 5-minute version, and you're good to go. But honestly, it's practice. It is so much practice, just getting a feel for the angle of the blade. If you have an adjustable, figuring out what blade setting you want to be on. Oh, and then also, one thing I was really skeptical about. Everybody said, try blades. Try different kinds of blades. I thought, come on, they're thin little pieces of metal. They don't make that much of a difference. They're going to be sharp either way. Yes and no. I ordered several from triablade.com. It's not an endorsement or a paid thing with them, but honestly they were slick, they were pretty cheap. You can get a sampler pack or you can just pick out several that you think are good for you. So I went with, let's see, I went with Sharks originally. That's what I was starting to shave with. I went from there to a mixture of Gillette's and I don't remember some of the other ones, but eventually, I was really surprised about this. I tried Astra Superior Platinum, and it was like night and day. And I thought, okay, I've been struggling through the technique part of it for a long time. Why would that make any difference? It did. It cut so much easier. It didn't pull and it didn't yank as I was going through really tough sections. I would even switch back sometimes to some of the other blades just to see, is my technique the cause of it, or is it actually the blade? And every time I'd switch back to the Astra Superior Platinums, which are like 15 cents a blade, it would make a difference. It'd be so much smoother, it would work so much better. I'm going to wash off the stippling pencil here. And it did make a difference. So I was a skeptic. Honestly, I was definitely a skeptic. But I can tell you, it did make a difference. Also, when I blotted, or when I dried, just tap it. Don't wipe and scrape. Just tap it. Because remember, the Aqua Velva is going to have some alcohol in it. And alcohol and water don't do super well together. So don't worry about it. So that's that. But yeah, blades, try them out. Honestly, it will make a difference. Keep switching back and forth, and you may notice a trend that starts. Keep at it. You can do it. If I can go from how amateurish and bad I was 2 years ago to this, so can you. And I'm not, this change, I got better over time. This wasn't like a recent thing. I've been doing this for a couple years now, and you do get better because it is muscle memory, it's practice, it's knowing your own skin and your own beard, your own whatever. So keep at it. You can do it. Try different things. If you have any more questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you. Thanks for watching.